Welcome everyone to Stranger Species. How
Hello.
you doing over there?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm your host, Mike Davis, here with Ethne Davis, the other host
Yeah.
with the most.
I just have the giggles.
She's seriously giggling over here.
Yeah.
We've been trying to start for like 5 minutes and she keeps postponing.
Well, it's because there's just good stuff happening out there.
What's happening out there? That's so good.
Really ugly swimsuits.
It's not even a swimsuit.
I don't even know what you call it, but really ugly stuff.
One of her friends just literally, as we got ready to start, texted her a picture of
the worst swimsuit you've ever seen in your life.
That it's like a fuchsia color top and bottom, but it's full pants, but not tight pants. They're like loose pants.
But they're calling it a swimsuit.
But it's a swimsuit.
But there's like holes in the ankles.
There's holes in the ankles and like where all love handles would stick out.
Yeah. It's so terrible.
I don't think it's going to be a hot seller this year.
I mean, I'm going to guess at least 5 people will buy it. And that's about it.
I just want to go to Target and see if it's actually in the store.
I just actually want to see someone wearing it. So anyway.
It's marvelous. So besides super ugly swimsuits, how you doing?
Really, really great. I just had the best weekend of quiet and girl time. Your host, Mike Davis.
That's me.
Yeah, he took my 3 little boys, our 3 little boys.
I believe they're mine.
Down to Grandma and Grandpa's house for my birthday weekend. Well, we celebrated together before, but for the weekend so that I could just be in my home in the quiet. And I honestly, that does not happen ever. And so it was a real treat. Just kind of my own schedule. I am so far behind on my children's memory books, and I don't want to be that mom, and I don't want the kids to not have them. And so the whole table is spread out with all the things to help me remember back like 6+ years.
Yeah, our youngest is 7.
Yeah.
And his book never has been started.
No, it's at 6 months.
Well, now.
Yeah, it's at 6 months, you guys. But this book that I have, it's very detailed because you know how they go through so much change in every month as they're little. And then by the time they get to the age of 2, I believe, then it just goes year by year until this one stops at 8. Thank heavens. And so
he's almost done with his book.
No, I still have very detailed.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He's good at this stuff. I don't even know what these books are.
And it's been so fun to reflect and go back, but I've had to literally bust out. And so I make these calendars every year, which I think we talked about in the podcast.
I have no idea.
I don't know if we did during December, but they're personalized. So I go back on the year, and all the pictures from the year before in January are on January of that year. So, and then in our family calendar, I have journaled just something little each day of the year on that calendar. It's not really like our scheduling calendar. It's like our journaling calendar. Yeah, you need to put those things on.
Both my hands are numb. It's weird. They like both fell asleep while you were talking.
Whoa. But you also need, because they're so dry, you need those things.
I think you have exciting stories.
Got to hold those down. Yeah. So anyway, so I journal. I have journaled like something little from each day, every day since our oldest was born, and she's 13. So it's nice because I can go back on these calendars that I've kept. They're kind of like I don't know, like when people used to blog, like our history. It's super simple. And I can actually be like, oh, there's a milestone I can put in their book. Oh, there's a milestone because it's been so long. So anyway, it was wonderful.
So in the 13 years that you've been doing these calendars, every single day, making an entry, how many days have I made an entry?
I've asked you to do it. Oh,
I bet you less than
probably 10. About 10. Yeah.
So I average a little less than 1 per year.
Well, I mean, you're welcome to do them as much as you want.
I just want to.
And I also want him to realize that he has his own calendar that he could totally journal. I make him one for him to have at the office. He could journal anything he wanted every day.
And you'll see the interest I have in journaling.
He doesn't even flip the calendar.
Sure I do.
No, you don't.
I even put this year's up on my own at the very beginning of January.
Okay.
Did I not?
I possibly. Where's your old one?
With all the other old ones in a little pile?
Okay, don't get rid of them.
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah.
You keep those bad boys.
This is our whole relationship. Ethel's extremely organized, and I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do in 3 minutes from now. Like, no idea what's happening.
Yeah. It doesn't bode well for the
great.
cleanliness of my home. It drives me literally bananas because I feel like all my children have inherited that side of you. And no one really cares if the house is clean except for me. And it's really hard to clean up after 5 other humans plus a dog and all the things. Anyway, It's the bane of my existence. But this weekend, I mean, I kept the house clean. I didn't deep clean, which is another thing I would love to do and just have a weekend of deep cleaning. But I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I am going to get these memory books done before I lose my mind. No, literally my memory.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting old.
A different definition of clean.
Oh, yeah, for sure we do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I know where all my stuff is.
Oh, it's an organized disaster is what I say.
Yeah, but it's organized.
But no one else, no, it's not organized.
It is to me.
If you were to look at it, no one would think it's organized. It's just you know where everything is, but it's not organized. It's not like anyone else knows where it is. They have to ask you to know where it is.
Any of the organized crap is in our house. I still have to ask you.
But I tell the kids, this is its home. You'll find it here. If I told you that too, you'll find it here as long as everyone puts it back.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem.
Oh gosh, we cannot have this conversation right now. Nobody wants to listen to this. Okay.
It's true though. So true.
It is so true.
Hey, so while I was down at my parents' this weekend, I had a thought. Here's my thought for you, okay?
Okay.
You ready? Would you rather live in the ugliest house on the block or live across the street from the ugliest house on the block?
Oof.
It has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, that's a terrible question.
I drove past, like, the ugliest house.
I did today, coming home from the bins place. Oh, I even got this thought, like, I feel bad for anyone who has to clean up this home after this person is gone or moves. It was so bad.
Yeah, the one I saw was clean. It was just so atrociously ugly and crazy bright blue. It was terrible.
Gosh,
From
I
the
think
70s.
If I had to live across the street from the ugly house, ooh.
I think I'd rather live in the ugly
Yeah,
house.
I think I'd rather live in the ugly house and just be ignorant and not know that it's ugly, I guess.
I mean, you know all your neighbors hate you and talk about you, but they don't have to look at it.
I mean, yeah, that would be terrible.
You would never live in the ugly house?
No, but I think for me, living across the street from the ugly house, it would kill me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably ask them if I could paint their house or help them clean it, honestly.
You most definitely would.
Because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is true. That is what you do.
Or I would pay a company, be like, hey, can I do this nice service for you?
Yeah.
It's really for me, but can I do it for you?
And we keep doing that with our next door neighbor and her trees.
We do.
Cut them down for her. Well, offered to go. She'd let us if we wanted to spend the money on it.
We've just offered to pay half to cut down her trees because they are
pains in the butt.
Yes, they are. Okay. So yeah, that's a randomly good question, I suppose.
Anyways,
but it has nothing to do with what we're talking
No.
about. Okay.
What are we going to talk about today? What are you want to talk about?
Something happy?
Happy. Yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I don't really know.
Alrighty.
It's cold, you guys. Super, super duper duper cold here.
I think it's cold everywhere right now.
But I can't compare to like where my family is in Canada. It's stupid cold up there.
It is stupid cold.
So I really only understand Celsius when it comes to negatives. I don't understand Fahrenheit remotely. But my sister was saying that at nighttime, one of the nights with the wind chill was going to get almost to minus 60 Celsius. I mean, I don't think even growing up in Canada that I've ever heard of it getting that cold before, ever.
Well, in Fahrenheit, when I was looking at their place, and we're talking daytime highs, I was seeing like minus 28 Fahrenheit.
Okay, and that's highs. So yeah, but I don't know what minus 60 Celsius would be Fahrenheit. Like, and at some point they like meet, don't they?
I think it's around minus 40.
Okay. Anyway, legitimately, never heard of it getting that cold in my entire life.
Yeah, it sounds miserable.
So that just wow. Just wow.
Yeah, we're not talking about that either. We're going to go to sunny California for today's story.
Oh, I feel like was our last story in California?
I don't remember what we talked about last time.
It was those sad people in the mountains that got lost.
Yeah, actually, we're not too far from them.
Oh, okay.
And by not too far, I have no idea.
Oh.
Not in LA, so not too far.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's not too far. So, yeah.
We're going to the cool town of Chowchilla, California.
Interesting.
Yeah, 1976.
Chowchilla.
Now, Chowchilla is a small little town.
Okay.
And there was a guy there. His name was Ed Ray.
Ed Ray.
Grew up in Chowchilla. Went to school in Chowchilla. Graduated high school. Didn't know what to do. This is back in like the 40s, I believe.
Not chinchilla.
Nope. Chowchilla.
Nope. Chowchilla. Like CHOW.
Exactly like that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he bought a little farm after high school and just stayed in Chowchilla. And
like a hobby farm or like a legit?
That was like his job, yeah.
Okay. Dairy?
I don't know.
Cattle. I don't know. Okay. I just like to know these things.
A farm.
I know.
It's not relevant to the story.
I know, but I'm like a secret farmer at heart.
It was an asparagus farm.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. And asparagus and pigs. It's a weird combo. That's what he grew.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Both smelly things.
Yes. Well, yeah. I don't know if asparagus smells while you're growing it.
Just when you're peeing it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But after about 10 years of that, Ed decided he wanted to do something more to kind of give back to the community, be more involved in the community. Obviously, if you're farming on your own, like, doesn't get you too involved with other people. It's a lot of hard work. So he became a local bus driver, like a school bus driver.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And he did that for like 30 years.
That's awesome.
And you know what it's like to have a good school bus driver.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference in the world to our kids.
For sure.
If it's a good school bus driver or a bad school bus driver.
Yeah. They definitely make a big difference. And even though it's such a short time, it really does help or hinder. So thank you to all those awesome bus drivers out there.
Yeah. If you're a bus driver and you don't suck, you're awesome. So, because he's in this fairly small town, he knew most of the families. The kids knew him. The families knew him. A lot of these kids on his bus route were actually grandkids of kids that he went to school with.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Small little town.
Yeah.
Kind of, Phil.
And so all of the kids on his bus route were between the ages of 5 and 14.
So it must have been an elementary through middle school kind of thing?
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah,
I mean, it said it was... they went to Dairyland Elementary School.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that the greatest name?
That is awesome. I like it.
Dairyland Elementary in Chowchilla, California.
I like it. Makes
Good
me
old
happy.
Ed, the bus driver.
I like it.
It's Americana, man. So, on July 26th.
In the middle of the summer.
1976. Ed was taking a group of 26 kids home from a summer outing at the local swimming pool.
Oh, interesting. They still have bus drivers in the summer that do that?
Chowchilla, California, they do.
Okay, cool.
In the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, great.
Yeah. So they're going home. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon when they find something kind of unusual in the road. So Ed drives up and he sees this van kind of parked blocking, and this isn't like a main road. They're out kind of, rural country roads. He sees this van blocking the two lanes sideways like it's broken down.
Okay.
And
I can picture it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he notices a second white van parked a little ways off the road as well. So he's like, this is weird, But this is Chowchilla, California. Like, how much weirdness can there be?
Well, there can be weirdness at any time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being the good dude that he was, Ed pulled the bus right up to this van, thinking like, oh, the guy's probably got engine trouble or
maybe
something
give
going
him a
on.
boost
Yeah.
or-
See what we can do to help. Because that's just who Ed was.
Right.
And as he pulls up, puts the bus in park, And what do you think happens?
I don't know if I want to know.
Well, you have to know because
It's gonna be
works.
okay. It's gonna be like the Reading Rainbow with the which show am I thinking of? The school bus shrinks and they go on a magic
school bus.
Magic school bus. Okay, so it's gonna shrink and then they're gonna go on a magic school bus adventure.
I do remember a good episode when they went inside the human body.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
Magic
what's gonna
school
happen.
Bus, which I liked more than Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, I don't know why Reading Rainbow came out, but yes, Magic School Bus with Mrs. Sizzle.
No, Frazzle.
Frizzle.
Frizzle.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of Miss Tracy. Our kid's outdoor teacher. Anyways. No, that would be cool.
I know. See, that's what I was thinking.
In Chowchilla, California, that's the kind of place where those things happen.
I mean, they go to Dairyland.
Yeah.
Elementary.
It was all lining up for that.
Yeah.
It was a good thought, but that's not what happened. Instead, we
Is
have
it bad people?
3 masked gunmen jump out of the van.
Oh, no. See?
Yeah. Sorry, you were wrong.
That's very wrong.
Yeah. That went the very opposite direction from what you thought.
I know.
Yeah. But your heart knew it was a bad thing.
I knew. It was like my guts were telling me this, but I was hoping not. Yeah. So that's why
it was a bad thing.
Magic school bus route.
So yeah, 3 guys jump out of the van with guns and pantyhose over their heads.
It's one way to do it.
I tell you what, in 2024, the pantyhose over the head is an underutilized mask for committing crimes.
Yeah, what is it now?
I don't even think criminals nowadays know what pantyhose are.
That's unfortunate because they work really well.
Yeah.
But I think balaclavas are probably
too sweaty, too hot. California? Ooh.
I'm just saying generally for
Canada,
criminals.
that's probably
No, I'm just saying generally for
mask.
criminals. Yeah. Okay.
I think the pantyhose is... They've
Legit.
moved on to
Clown.
more eccentric masks and
Clowns.
things. Yeah.
Or just nothing because no one cares anymore.
That's true. You don't even have to.
Okay. So anyway, pantyhose.
So they get on the school bus.
Oh.
And one of the guys puts a gun to Ed's head. And he tells him, get out of the driver's seat.
Okay.
And so Ed, he's not a dummy, gets out of the driver's seat. I think he's got a face like, I
do not like it.
And he's told, hey, you know what? If you talk, old man, you're going to get shot. So just sit down.
Okay.
And so 2 of the men board the bus and they start driving away.
With the kids.
Yep.
Okay.
The 3rd man follows them in the van.
Okay.
Now, they're driving in silence. But,
are the kids crying?
well, the kids are confused. I'm sure the older kids understand, like, this is not good and understand what's going on. But you've got, like, kindergartners on there.
Yeah.
And so the youngest child on the bus, so one of the guys has a mask pulled over his head with the legs of the pantyhose, like, floppy ears.
Sticking out.
Yeah. And so she literally asked the man if he was the Easter Bunny.
That's awesome.
And so Ed's realizing, like, oh, we're in a really bad situation. Half these kids don't even know that they're in a bad situation.
No, they don't even know.
But I mean, think about it though. Being the only adult, you're in charge of these kids. Like,
yeah,
it'd be a terrible situation. Like, you would feel so responsible for all of them.
Oh, it'd be
trying to figure out
terrible.
what to do. I mean, bad enough if it was you on your own that gets carjacked.
Totally.
But with 26 elementary students.
Does that soften the guy's heart though when she asks him if he's a bunny rabbit and then he's like, oh, Ed's just gonna drive them home. I'm gonna get off the bus right now. Did he do that?
I don't think so.
Oh shoot.
No, he didn't do that.
That would have been good.
I don't know what he said to her, but he did not get off the bus.
Okay, well, I was hoping.
So they drive the bus into a dry creek bed, kind of hiding it, getting off the road.
Yep.
And in the dry creek bed is another van parked there. And so they park the bus and they order everyone off of the bus and into the 2 vans, which are windowless. They've been stripped of everything inside, like cargo vans, kind of,
Yep.
And So obviously whatever's going on was
Mhm.
well planned.
Yeah, really like
Orchestrated.
pre-planned out.
It wasn't just some
Mhm.
random thing. So if you're Ed, like, what are you thinking at this time? Like, what could possibly be going on with 26? I mean, most people are trying to get away from elementary school kids as fast as possible.
I have a feeling that it's related to a child on the bus and like maybe a custody thing, or this is my kid, or
That's a good thought.
something like that. Like they had no other way to, I don't know. I just feel like it's too pre-planned out to be, I think, a random we're going to stop the next car that comes by, because you would think anyone would be like, oh, let the bus go. We are going to stop the next car that comes by.
It's a lot of people to.
Well, and
with.
it's
A lot of moving
kids
parts,
too.
it's a
Yeah,
lot of-
just a lot. Oof. Anyway.
Agreed.
Okay.
Dude, my hand is so asleep.
Yeah.
It's just like tingling beyond belief here.
Why you should have them low.
I had them low, and I didn't like that, so I brought them high.
Well, but just give them a minute. I still think you have Raynaud's.
Just got tingly hand syndrome right now. So they get put into these vans,
Okay.
and they start driving away. And
Okay.
They can't see out. They don't know where they're going.
Okay.
Ed does make a point of looking at his watch as to when they
Did this.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they are driven with no brakes and no idea what is happening for 11 hours.
This is the weirdest thing ever. For 11 hours. What about kids that have to go potty?
Yeah, I'm sure some, if not all, did.
They peed their pants.
This is summer in California.
They're probably bawling. They're
I'm sure
starving.
there's a lot of brawling. I'm sure there's a lot of hunger. You know how kids are when they
my
get
goodness, they're the
hungry.
worst.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is Ed would have only been able to go in one of these two cars, so that means the other car.
Actually by themselves. Right. It's a good point. You had and I would have been this kid because of the heat.
Oh, like
and
passing
bumping
out.
Around. Well,
Car sick.
Car sick. There's kids throwing
Vomit.
up back there. Yeah.
Yes, our
So
kids
now
get
you're
car
sitting
sick too.
in hot.
Oh,
vomit
this is
room.
terrible. Well, this is terrible.
Yeah, not good. So they end up getting to wherever they are going. Vans finally stop at about 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And, that's a lot of time, 11 hours, for your brain to be coming up with possible scenarios.
Oh, I would be a basket case, but like if I was Ed,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay.
Yeah. Long time. And so they finally stop. They open the doors and they tell everyone, get out. And they're taken out one by one. And it seems they have arrived in what Ed can tell in a quarry. They're they're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it seems like, you can tell there's been lots of digging, big industrial kind of digging.
Interesting.
Now, again, a quarry to me, if I was Ed, I would be like, this is a good place to die and bury people.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking. I would be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nothing good happens at quarries at night.
Probably not.
And there's probably not a lot of like bingo parties or quinceañeras or, anything fun, church services in quarries in the middle of the night.
No, probably a lot of buried evidence.
Yeah. I feel like only gangsters and criminals use quarries in the middle of the night. But I'm not in any of these organizations, so I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never been to a quarry in the middle of the night. Maybe there's all sorts of cool stuff happening.
I mean, I've been to the one that's right there by that path. I call it like it's like a baby quarry.
But it's not an actual quarry,
It's
but
not.
it has been dug out.
Yeah.
You ever been there at 3:30 in the morning?
Well, nothing's happening in our quarry. Nothing good's happening in our little quarry at the bottom of our field either. People are dumping their trash in there. Like, why did
People are idiots.
why did the field owner do that? Dig all these things where it's like visibility is hard to, and then they can just dump. I don't understand.
It's a good question, I think.
Yeah. So
many good questions.
I know. So yeah, this Corey would not make me feel very good either.
Yeah. So the children were marched one at a time out of the vans, and they had to stop and tell their abductors their name and give them one article of clothing.
This is the weirdest thing ever.
Now, we might see our first sign of how awesome these criminals were because they wrote down said names. Well, guess where they wrote down the names?
I really have no idea.
They wrote all the names down on a Whopper wrapper.
Nice.
Yeah. So as planned out as it was, apparently they forgot paper.
Okay. This is so weird.
So they asked the kid the name. They write it on the Whopper wrapper. Take an article of clothing. And keep them marching on.
Why are they taking a piece of clothing?
Well, you'll find out.
Okay.
So Ed assumes they're all going to die.
Oh, gee.
You know, like, what else could you possibly be doing out there?
Okay, I feel like Ed's going to do something super heroic. He's going to give back to the community. He's going to, like, come flying down from the wrecking ball that's in the quarry and just be like, ah! And
Tarzan
just
style.
bowl them all out. The 3 bad guys. Yep.
Man, you always ruin these things because you come up with the endings before I can get there.
I don't think I've ever guessed right.
Yeah, so he got in a crane with
Yeah.
the big ball thing,
Yeah.
swung it around,
Yeah.
hitting
And
all
just-
the people.
Just the bad guys.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
avoiding all the kids.
Yeah. And then he got back in the cars and drove them all home.
Yeah. We just crushed them.
Yeah.
Just body parts flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it, guys. That is strange, huh?
Straight. Do you have? Oh, it's colorful now.
What's colorful?
Your hand. It's like
Oh.
got color back.
Hey.
It's not numb anymore.
No.
Okay. All right. So what really happens? Because I don't know if I want to know.
So they march him into the quarry, but not to die.
Well, that's good.
So Ed realized, and this is kind of tricky to visualize, so just try your best. And maybe I'll upload a picture of it, or you can Google it. Ed realized that they were standing on the roof of a buried moving truck. So think about having like a U-Haul truck,
Uh-huh.
and you bury it,
Mm-hmm.
but you're still standing on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep. I got it.
Okay. I thought that would be more tricky to
No,
visualize.
I feel like I got it.
All right. Well, good. I had a hard time visualizing it originally. So in the roof of this moving truck, a hole had been cut.
Okay. A hole.
Yes.
Okay. I got it.
Good. And they forced everyone to climb down a ladder into the hole, into the back of the moving truck. And it was obvious all of a sudden now that they were being buried alive. But why?
Yeah, this is so weird.
But why? So, Ed's down there. Kids are coming down. I don't know what the light situation was like down there.
Probably pitch
You
black.
would think it was pitch black. There's enough light that he can detail what is down there, but I don't know if it's just because the roof hadn't been closed yet or if there was some kind of light
Mhm.
source. But he finds that inside this, think of it like, again, like the back of a U-Haul truck,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of mattresses piled up. There's a little bit of water. There's a little bit of food, and there's a makeshift toilet.
Are they going to use them for ransom?
And so that's where they're at. Now, in a strange way, it's a good question.
Because it's like they want to keep them alive long enough. If you're going to bury them alive, you wouldn't go to any of that effort to do any of those
Exactly.
things.
So you've got to have, if you're Ed or the kids, a glimmer of hope all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Okay, they want to keep us alive for at least some amount of time.
Yeah.
Because they're
maybe it's more
providing
like a
us
ransom
with,
thing. What if the kids maybe on the bus is super duper rich? They're going to call that person's parents for ransom.
Maybe.
Okay.
It's a better lead than Magic School Bus.
Well, or the whole custody thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe they were just going to pick out like the 2 kids and then leave the other ones like in the middle of a field or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not going that way. So now I'm like, what are my other options? Okay.
Okay, it's good.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
thought.
I'm feeling it.
But before he could figure out, more what's happening, a big steel plate gets put on over the hole, and then they can hear dirt being thrown on it.
Ugh.
And then something heavy being dragged and placed.
Ugh, this is terrible.
So they are buried in there, and most of the kids are crying. Ed starts crying. Like, this is the first time you aren't with your abductors. You probably just kind of let it all go.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out. So they're sitting there, 26 kids. Ed, probably smell like vomit, probably smell like urine, in the dark, emotionally wrecked, right? And there's a kid named Mike, 14, oldest kid there. Mikes are always the best.
Okay. Don't let it go to your head. I bet you there was no ethnies.
There were definitely no Mikes. But if you're ever in a pickle, look to the Mikes.
Oh, stop it.
Without a doubt.
And then you think about Michael Jordan. Everyone wants to be like Mike.
That's right.
Like, oh, stop. Just
Mikes
stop.
are the best.
Okay.
Anywho, I know a couple Mikes.
Maybe the ethnies are the best. That's why there's only one.
There's 2 that I know of.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I've actually met another one.
3 that I know of then.
Oh, yeah. And I know of one, but I've never met her, but I want to meet her. And then there's
Like,
Kate Hudson's character.
yep. There's
Okay.
But then we Googled you.
Yeah. Okay,
We
fine.
found that DJ down in Miami. Her
Okay.
name was Ethne.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe there's like 10 of us.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
There's like 10 mics on this block.
Yeah.
So,
It's true. Okay. Okay, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. So
so Mike
14-year-old Mike,
stands up and he says, screw this.
I'm busting out of here.
I'm not dying without trying to get out of here.
Yeah, I like this Mike kid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, y'all can cry all you want, but
Because the captors are gone, so no one's watching them. Like they
Well,
can.
that's the scary thing. You don't know. Like,
Well,
what are they standing right there with the gun? Is this some kind of sick game? Like they just are waiting for us to come out so
That's
they can hunt
true.
us down? Are they gone? Are they? If we get out, are we stuck
Right.
in this quarry in the middle of nowhere? Like who knows? Like
right.
I would almost be more terrified. Okay, if I get out, then what? I mean, you can't stay. Like you'd want to get out, obviously.
Right. You got to try.
But then, I mean, your mind would be so full of so many things.
So
but
many
you can't just
things.
sit there and die. either.
Right.
Or let them take control of the situation.
That's true.
So one thing, which kind of surprised me, because in the middle of the night, it is summertime, but the thing's buried. But they said it's incredibly stuffy and hot down there.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And so everyone's just sweating profusely. So Ed and the boys, some of the older boys, they start stacking mattresses
To climb up that hole.
to get up to the hole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like
And
it. It's a good idea.
They can't get all the way up there,
Mm-hmm.
but they can kind of build a big enough tower so that I think it is Mike who can get up on top and everyone else can kind of hold it steady.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the other kids break some wood planks off of one of the bed frames that the mattresses are on.
Mm-hmm.
And they use that to try to pry open this metal.
Hole.
Yeah.
Like
sheet.
covering.
Yeah, that had been placed on there.
Mm-hmm.
But they find there's something really heavy on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't know this at the time. In retrospect, they'll find out that there's 2 industrial tractor batteries that are about 100 pounds each that were placed on top
Ooh,
of this cover.
those batteries are heavy.
Anthony knows about industrial tractor batteries.
No, I just know about like our camper and our boat batteries, and those are heavy enough. So I can only imagine like the size of a industrial like piece of machinery battery. I
It's
can
gonna be
only,
huge.
yeah, huge.
So the boys, they're working and they're working and they're working. And working above your head's the worst. And you're trying
And reaching.
It's hot, it's stuffy.
I
You
hope
haven't
no one
eaten in
falls.
hours. It's sweaty.
Right.
And we're talking hours. They're working and working and working. They're not getting it. But then Ed starts noticing something that I don't know if the kidnappers were planning or not, but the roof is starting to collapse under the weight of.
That's scary.
Yeah. Like you can see it collapsing.
Oh, yeah.
They tried to reinforce it some inside. Not them, like the actual kidnappers had. And so
Because then if they're also putting dirt on top
right.
and the weight of those batteries, yikes.
So he knows it's just a matter of time until
they need to stay in the corners, like way back from that hole.
Yeah.
Those kids and everybody.
And so they're exhausted. The little kids are dumping water on them, trying to cool them off. Like they're about ready to just not be able to do this anymore. When they just hit like the miracle of all miracles, and they get it slightly moved and open enough that they can
some
dirt
air
starts
comes
pouring in.
Oh,
and then they can, once the dirt's out of the way, kind of work their way in, and they eventually can get the wood in and pry it
even more
and get it open. And so, again, it's open, but you have no idea what's out there, right?
Right.
And so Ed helps hoist the boys up, and Mike gets out, seems clear, so they start just pulling all the kids out. And once Ed, one by one, he's lifting them all out, getting them all out, and then the boys reach down and help him
get up,
and they pull him out. Now, they've been in there for 16 hours.
They've been in that thing
in the crate
for 16 hours. They traveled for 11.
Right.
The process of getting them all in there probably took an hour or two at least. I mean, gosh, it's been full 20 more.
Yeah.
Okay, there's got to be search parties and like people freaking out at this point, for sure.
For sure.
Okay.
And so now they're out on foot. They can kind of see where they're at. And they make their way. And this is great. The quarry is not abandoned. It is an active quarry. There are people working in the quarry.
What?
And so they go to and I don't know if there are people working right then because I don't know what the time frame was.
Right.
So it was like 4:30 in the or 3:30ish in the morning when they got there, plus 16 hours. It would be 3:30 in the afternoon. It's 12 plus 4. So it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, somewhere there. But there is a security guard.
Well, of course.
There. So they find the security guard. He's like blown away, like, what are you 30 people doing in this quarry?
It was so random.
And they tell him, like, we were kidnapped from a bus. We got buried. Like, buried here in this quarry? Yeah, like buried in your quarry. You're not doing a good job, security man.
Like, you didn't even know there was a whole truck buried under here.
And so they call the police. The police come out. And they don't believe the story. I mean, they believe it, but they can't believe it. You know, they go and they see.
But there had to have been a search party. So then, I mean, there had to have been people that had started putting out missing people. But at the same time,
it's true, it's 1970s,
but if they would have driven 11 hours, yeah, you're far away.
Chowchilla.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have gotten that
So the
far.
question is, who did this and why?
Okay, wait. Rewind. Oh, so they don't believe them. So then what?
I mean, they believe them, but it's like it's such a crazy story.
Okay, so that's it?
So they take him to, I actually think they take him to a local jail because that was the closest place that had medical facilities. And they feed him and treat him and clean him up and get him back home. So then the police start this investigation.
Yeah.
Like who, what, why,
right?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
So if you're a police officer, and sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Once you hear the answer, if you don't come up with it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. What's one thing you have to realize right away when you're thinking, who could have done this? When you know it was in this quarry?
People that work in that quarry.
Yeah, it's got to have someone who has super access to the quarry, right?
I mean, I guess so.
I mean, I can't just go break into...
Right. No. I mean, yeah.
I have enough time.
Well, how do you even have a truck that no one is going to miss? Like, I don't know how.
Like where do you get a U-Haul truck?
Yeah.
That you can bury?
Yeah.
Where do you get the equipment and the time without being seen to dig a giant hole to bury a U-Haul truck?
But also to then cut a hole in the roof of this truck. Yeah, the whole thing.
Like it's someone who has to have tons of.
But why are they driving 11 hours from the quarry? Was this literally just like a random act?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So the police are very quick, like I said, to realize, okay, whoever this is connected to this quarry.
Right. Okay. Sure. But that's still 11 hours away from Chowchilla. right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make, I mean, there has to be some connection to those specific people on that bus. There has to be.
It's a good question. It's a good thought.
I mean,
and so the police start looking through everybody, and they come up with the owner of the quarry, his son, and his son's two buddies all have criminal records for stealing cars. And so that is enough to get search warrants on them.
okay.
And when the police, and these three boys are Frederick Woods,
Okay.
that's the owner's son, James Schofield and Richard Schofield.
Okay.
Are the Schofields, is that the last name in Prison Break?
It feels familiar.
I feel like it's familiar in something.
Maybe it is in Prison Break.
Great first season, terrible every other season.
Yeah. Maybe it is Schofield.
I feel like Schofield's in something.
Yeah, it is in something for sure. Okay. Anyway,
Anyways,
so
these guys were 24, 24, and 22.
okay.
So they go to the Schofield's residence, and in one of the brothers' stuff, they find all the written plans of how to do this. They find one of the guns, and most importantly, they find the Whopper wrapper.
The Whopper wrapper.
With all of the names on it.
Wow.
And so they put out an arrest warrant for those guys. And one of them turns themselves in. One of them gets caught a couple days later. And Frederick Woods gets caught like a week later in British Columbia.
Wow.
He'd gone all the way up to your home and native land.
Well, where is this quarry? Do we even know?
I don't know. I mean, you can...
Are they still in California?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very knowable. Like you can look the story
That's
up
fine.
and see. I don't know where it was.
That's
100
fine.
miles from Chowchilla.
Okay.
But yeah, still in California.
Okay.
And so this is the greatest part of the story.
I mean, maybe.
So all three of these boys came from lots of money.
Okay. Why do they steal cars? If they
Because they're idiots.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
they're rich boys who are bored out of their minds.
Okay.
I had a patient who moved here because he made a ton of money, lived down in Malibu, and raised his son in Malibu. And his son got into crazy drugs at these crazy parties because they had a lot of money and no responsibility in life.
Right.
And I treated his son, he was like 22, 23, for meth mouth. Like full everything.
Sad.
We did everything, you know?
Because he was just addicted.
Just a loser who
That's sad.
had literally no responsibilities in life.
Right.
So these guys came from a ton of money, but had gotten themselves into a ton of trouble where they owed a ton of money. And
so stealing a bunch of children and a bus driver helps them get money?
their plan was to kidnap a bunch of children, and they wanted children because they thought people would pay a ransom better for children. And they were going to ransom for $5 million each, which is equivalent to about $22 million today. And they wanted the police to drop the ransom money out of a plane in the mountains in the middle of the night, and they would collect it.
Wow.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, no.
No?
No.
Oh.
Because it's going to get lost in the middle of the mountains in the middle of the night. Because they're not going to be able to find it again.
One would think these things are true. So
Oh my gosh.
their plan was, once they got them in the trailer.
Who is exactly paying the ransom?
Well, I believe they thought the state would pay.
Oh, the state.
Because the good people of Chowchilla, California, probably aren't the wealthiest.
So they just thought people of the state who found out that these kids were missing would be willing to pay the ransom to get them back. Just
it is
random
California.
people. But I mean, just random people.
I mean, they pay everything to random people for all the things.
But just...
It's the most moronic state in the union.
Michael.
Sorry, California folk.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm just trying to follow. That's what they thought?
They thought that the state of California would
Right,
step
like,
in
But
and pay for
the
these
actual
children.
state.
Correct.
Oh. Okay. So, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
don't even know what to
the plan
say.
was to call the police department and issue their ransom that afternoon
Oh, perfect.
or that morning. So, like they dropped them off at 3:30 in the morning or whatever. And then, at 8 or 9 in the morning or whatever,
Issue the ransom. Okay.
But they ran into a little hiccup.
Okay.
The hiccup was that there were so many people calling about their missing children that they couldn't get through to the police station. It was busy all the time because there were 26 missing children.
Okay.
And so they decided, we'll go to sleep and we'll call them tonight when we wake up.
Oh.
But they woke up to the news talking about how these children had escaped.
It's been found. So then they're like, oh, crap, we got to run.
Well, that was a big for-nothing burger.
These people are just too dumb.
Yeah.
They're just too dumb.
It's great, right?
I don't even know. But do they realize the trauma that caused for those kids?
I am 100% sure they have never thought about that. And they said, one of them after he was arrested, said specifically they wanted children because they thought that people would care more about children to be willing to pay the ransom and that the children would do what they were told. And so, they were all returned to their families, and many of them did have, lifelong PTSD and
100%
therapy issues.
I mean, they literally thought they were going to die.
Yeah, of course.
That's
yes.
So traumatizing.
And so they were all arrested, all charged with kidnapping and whatever else you charge morons who do things like this.
Well, and he ran all the way to BC, so obviously, yeah. I mean, I guess back then you didn't have to have a passport to cross with the border.
Yeah, but it was funny, or not funny, but interesting. It's just they're all from a lot of money. Now, the two brothers, the Schofield brothers, were released from prison, paroled in 2012 and 2015. So they were out. But what was his name? Woods. I don't remember his first name.
I don't know either.
Anyways, he was. I want to read this. I have this. Sorry, over here. He was in prison. He got denied parole 19 times.
Wow.
Mostly because he continued to minimize the crime. Like he didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now, this is crazy. So, again, in jail from 1976. In 2016, so he's been in jail for, 40 years? 86, 96, 06. Yeah, 40 years.
40 years.
He is issued a workman's comp lawsuit is filed against him while he's in prison.
I didn't know you could do that.
No, he didn't file it. A worker filed it against him.
Right, but okay. Okay.
Where does he have workers?
That's a great question.
Yeah. So it turns out that while in jail, he had been running a gold mine and a car dealership without letting anyone in prison know.
How?
Well, he's got a ton of money. Like, I'm just got connections and all sorts of stuff. So he comes from two huge wealthy families. He has a trust fund. This is going to blow you away. Of over $100 million.
What? Okay, wait. Has he always had that trust fund?
I don't know if when he was younger, if he had it, or doesn't that came along after his parents died, or what?
Okay.
But yeah, he is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars.
And he's sitting in prison?
Sitting in prison his whole life because he did a terrible job trying to kidnap some children for ransom money.
That's a long time to stay in prison for kidnapping kids. And they didn't even like harm, like, I mean, they psychologically harmed them, but they didn't physically harm them. And they didn't even attempt to kill them. That's a long time in prison.
Yeah.
It's a long sentence.
Yeah. He keeps getting denied parole because he keeps having contraband, but not like the cool contraband, like knives and stuff. It's like cell phones and certain adult magazines you're not allowed to have and things like that.
Wow. This guy is... I'm glad he's actually in there, honestly.
He's been married 3 times while in prison.
They let you get married?
I guess.
While you're in prison?
I guess so. And he has purchased a mansion about a half an hour away from the prison.
When he gets out?
For when he gets out.
Is he out yet?
So he was released in 2022. So just, I was going to say last year, not last year anymore.
Yeah. Wow. This guy is...
So August 17th, 2022, he was released from prison.
And those kids are probably still all alive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure not all of them are.
Probably
life happens,
not Ed.
But
many
so actually,
of them.
Ed lived. This is a cool, sweet part. Ed lived into his 90s.
Oh.
And when he died, almost every one of those kids
came to his funeral.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Like their whole lives they spent in communication with him.
Oh.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and he won some awards and stuff.
What's a huge...
being the best bus driver of the year, 1976.
Yeah, that's... When you go through a traumatic experience like that, yeah, you bond, man.
Yeah. There were some other good bus drivers that year.
Yeah, for sure.
But none who got kidnapped and held for ransom like Ed.
That story is terrible.
It is terrible. But a happy ending.
Yeah, happy ending. I mean, it is a
Other than
happy
the
ending.
Massive amounts of,
Psychological damage. Yeah, that's...
all of the PTSD aside, happy ending.
Happy ending, right? I just... Those kids, the 3 perpetrators, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Had zero reason to truly do that. Like, they didn't really need to do that. Because obviously they had enough money to pay off whatever the debts. They just didn't want to, like, ask mom and dad at the time or whatever.
That seems like a viable
or at
conclusion.
least the owner of the quarry, like that kid. I don't know about the Schofields, like, exact situation and how much trouble they were really in. There was 1,000,001 better ways to handle that situation, for sure.
It's a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time you want to do something super stupid, just come talk to me. I'll talk you out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. If I ever think like I want to kidnap a whole school bus of kids,
really anything stupid. You just come and talk to me. And anyone out there, I can talk you down off the ledge. Edge?
The ledge.
The ledge?
Yeah. I mean, a ledge has an edge.
So I can do that for you. I'm very good at grounding.
Yeah.
Like leveling you out. Just,
It's good. It's a great skill to have. It's really popular.
Oh my goodness. I just can't. But I mean, maybe he had a good life in prison.
Sounds like he had a better life than most people in prison.
40 plus years. It's crazy. Okay. Well,
crime doesn't pay.
I'm
people.
honestly really, really glad those kids were like, it was a much happier ending than I was mentally preparing for.
That they couldn't get through because the parents were calling so much
about their missing kids.
Yeah.
That's
like,
hilarious.
We'll do it later. And then you turn the news on, like, oh, wait, some kids escaped. Wait, those are our kids. Ah.
And then you're like, oh, drive to BC.
Yeah. Go to Canada.
Go to Canada. Oh, man. Anyway, what's this world coming to?
BC is definitely the place to
quite the story.
If you're going to be a criminal.
Why? Why BC?
I just feel like that central BC area, just a lot of hippies. Like they'd be more welcoming than other parts.
I don't know. I think if no one knows, then you're kind of safe anywhere, right? If no one knows you're the criminal.
It's true. I think that this dude would have a hard time staying low.
I'm sure. But, technology's gotten so much better now. But back then, I think it would be a lot easier.
Oh, physically he could. I think personality-wise. Seems like the guy who couldn't keep his mouth shut. Probably big ego.
Yeah, probably so. You're probably right. So
yeah. Well, cool. Everybody, have a good week out there this week.
Yeah.
And, be nice to people. Don't kidnap anyone, please.
Definitely not.
Especially children. If you're going to kidnap someone, make sure it's an adult.
How about just nobody?
But nobody's better. That's
Nobody
right.
is better.
Nobody is better.
Okay.
So everyone have a wonderful week. We will catch up with you again next week with some story. And until then, be nice to people.
Peace out.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.